Ukraine is on the verge of a financial crisis, with its national debt spiraling upwards amid the ongoing war. Just days ago, Kyiv disclosed that it had failed to restructure a massive $2.6 billion debt, heightening the risk of default. The country faces a critical deadline at the end of May, with the possibility of missing a $600 million repayment. Despite the growing pressure, Ukraine seems reluctant to take the drastic step of defaulting. However, Ukrainian officials remain optimistic. Finance Minister Serhiy Marchenko assured the public that the country's debt, now surpassing UAH 7.1 trillion, is not as dire as it may appear. Before the war, Ukraine's debt-to-GDP ratio was manageable at 55%. But with the conflict raging, it has now nearly doubled, approaching 100%, pushing the national debt to new extremes. Marchenko maintains that most of this debt was accrued under favorable terms from international partners, providing Ukraine with much-needed financial flexibility.
It is worth noting that before the war, the level of debt to gross domestic product, GDP, was quite safe. It was 55%. Now it is quite significant. We are approaching 100% of GDP. The amount is quite significant. But it is worth noting that most of this debt was borrowed during the war on preferential terms from our partners. That is, we are talking about the fact that in the next 30 years, we will not repay these debts.
Marchenko stressed that debt sustainability remains a top priority, with Ukraine working closely with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to ensure stability. He remains confident that the country's financial health won't jeopardize its future. Despite this, the numbers tell a different story. As of early April, Ukraine's state and state-guaranteed debt reached UAH 7.12 trillion, USD 171.73 billion, marking an increase of UAH 103.48 billion and USD 2.64 billion respectively. The mounting debt comes at a time when Ukraine urgently needs funds to sustain its war efforts. Amid this fiscal crisis, Ukraine has secured a vital lifeline from the European Union. Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal confirmed that the country had received an additional EUR 1 billion under the ERA program, funded by the proceeds from frozen Russian assets. These funds will help cover critical budget expenditures as the war drags on. Shmyhal emphasized the significance of this aid, calling it part of a fair and consistent approach. The aggressor must pay for the destruction he has brought to our land. The EU's move highlights Ukraine's reliance not only on its own resilience, but also on international support to continue its defense against Russia's unyielding assault. The situation remains precarious. Ukraine's financial outlook is deeply intertwined with a war that has already claimed countless lives and displaced millions. With deadlines fast approaching and debt piling up, Ukraine's ability to navigate this financial minefield will be crucial for its survival.